Well, I just got another, it's called a Throttle Boss right here. So easy to ride in the palm of your hand, throttle assist. This one, this is a pretty cheap thing. Like, in other words, sometimes it can cost you $30 or more. This is retails for $9.95, but I had like a discount and free shipping. It was like less than $5. So you can actually make this too, probably, but for $5, God, why would you make it? It's got a piece of rubber sleeve that goes in here, and this is like just a PVC plastic that bends over this. So when your hand is on here, you can rest your hand, and it's like that's the one thing that this hand kind of wears me out more because you got to hold the throttle, and it does have on this bike. It's got like this thing. It's like a friction thing. You're not supposed to lock it down, but just enough to make it so the throttle doesn't snap back as fast when you're on a highway. I actually put this knurled knob on it. I used to have like a plastic things on here, but they broke off, so I put this brass knurled knob on here. This works okay. This should be a heck of a lot better. For $5, I think it was like $4.78 delivered. Because I got it on JP Cycles, but I got the rider discount and stuff, free shipping, and so I'm a member. But hey, for the short trips, it ain't doing nothing. But for the long trips, if you're riding out there a couple hours or more, something like that, or even an hour, this can help you out a lot. I didn't even know about this thing. You see, because the internet wasn't around when I was, all the years in the beginning when I was riding, and there was no internet, period. So, I was reading everything in biker magazines to learn stuff, usually Iron Horse. I didn't like Easy Riders. I used to read Iron Horse. The one, David Snow. Dave Snow, he's still around too. I think he's in, I don't know where he is. He used to be in New York. He used to have his bike chained up all over the place and stuff. But you see how many chains he used to have on his bike up in New York, parked under the street light. I don't know how he survived all that stuff. But, I didn't know none. See, the internet is good for sharing information. It's bad in other ways, but it's good in some ways. It's a two-edged sword. But, yeah, it put some oil in there too. The thing is, little stuff like that, it cuts down your fatigue, makes you a little more safe, supposedly. Because if your hand's going to sleep because you're constantly, putting a throttle, because this bike vibrates a lot, it's a Sportster. It's not a rubber mounted Sportster. A rubber mounted Sportster is like 2004 and up. This is an 89. This is actually probably, some circles you would call it vintage because it's an early Evo. Usually you got to be pre-Evo to be vintage, but it's getting there, man. Five more years or so, it would be vintage. It's 89, so that's 34 years old. I had it since new. So, but I didn't know about this stuff. And and again, I want to tell you about this seat, this Mustang seat. I should have got it 30 years ago. What a difference, man. God. Well, so I probably will get some grips for this. These stock grips work fine. And I'm not going to get no expensive ones with any kind of chrome anodized garbage or anything. It's just something that they're more comfortable. Plain black ones because they're a lot cheaper, and then maybe install those with that. The highway pegs, that little windshield, the seat, the highway gearing. Well, the engine's got all kinds of junk in it right now. So, it's a Sportster that can actually. See, I know people talk a lot of garbage about Sportsters, but this Sportster can actually do pretty much, except for 2-up touring. That's where you wouldn't want to do this. 2-up touring on a long distance. I might put a pad back here, make a bracket for it, put a pad back here, do some 2-up touring. But, you ain't got really a lot of, you don't have the luggage room on this thing and stuff like that. 1-up riding, it does really everything and better, than a big bike, the bigger bikes, because it's, it'll do the highway, and it's got still the same Sportster acceleration and handling and stuff. So I don't know. And oh yeah, the first thing I changed, this paint job needs to be done again. I just sprayed some clear over it. It's got a orange peel on it stuff. That tank, that was the first thing I changed on this bike. That 2.25 gallon tank. I hated that thing. This is a 3.8 gallon Mustang tank. Then later on, they came out with the 3¼ king tank, but still, or the 3.3 or whatever. Still, this has got another little over half a gallon more than that. So it's got, and you know, the Sportster, I get about, you know, I don't know if it's going to get that now, but it was getting, it surprised me, it was getting better mileage with all the engine modifications that have more power in it than it was stock. And, you know, it was getting close to 50 or 50, 48 to 50. So I figure a good 45 miles to the gallon. So it gets maybe, you know, some of the bigger bikes, they don't quite get the same mileage as this thing would, especially with the highway gearing with this. So that 3.8 gallon tank that's on here right now is kind of like a 4.5 on a big bike when you're talking about the total range. So it's you know, it's got pretty much all the advantages. And this thing, let's take a look at this. What's the name of this thing? Throttle rocket. Made in USA. It's just plastic. It's a piece of plastic and rubber. But it works. It works nice. You can adjust it so, you know, your hand, wherever, you know, where your hand is, you know, if you're like up in this, so if you're down like that, that should be about right there, you know. So, very good, very good.